of the demon Ravan, and will light it on fire. And it's such a beautiful symbol, as I was sharing on the banks of Ganga, of vanquishing, conquering, burning that Ravan aspect in you. And I can't remember how much was in Hindi and how much was in English on the God, but it's worth repeating, because this demon king is not the way that, like in the West where we have these good guys, bad guys, movies or books or stories, and the bad guy is all bad, like rotten to the core, monster ghoul. Ravan is not like that. It's much more complex, it's much more deep. Ravan was this incredible scholar, a brilliant, like expert in the scriptures, who had done so much tapas, so much sadhana. He was not your rotten to the core type of two-dimensional monster figure at all. But what happened was, he just allowed that very humanness that we all have, of greed and jealousy and lust and arrogance and ignorance. He just allowed it to take over him. And what happens when we allow that to happen, whether it's all of those, 10 heads, whether it's all of the vices, or whether it's just one, what happens is our vision becomes very narrow. Think about it. If you're angry at someone, or you're jealous of someone, or you're lusting over someone, or you're greedy for something, what happens to your vision? It goes like this, boom. Like that is all you can think about. It absolutely co-ops and takes over your mind. It's one little thought, one aspect. But if you give into it, what you find is nothing else seems to be there. As long as you're holding on to that anger, that lust, that jealousy, that greed, that is all that your mind is full of. And that's what happened to him. That's what happened to him. I'm the most powerful. That ego. How dare anyone else? I am the one. I will have his wife. So, it's 10 heads. It's all of the different vices. But with us, it reminds us, be really careful. Be watchful. We've been talking about mindfulness the last few nights. And this is really a very important aspect that mindfulness plays in our life, because a lot of times you don't even realize how you're falling until you are so far down that it's really difficult to crawl yourself back up. Mindfulness allows you to watch and kind of pick up on things when they're just barely the beginning of a thought. And you start to become mindful. Anger brewing. Lust brewing. Jealousy brewing. This brewing, that brewing. And the moment you notice it like that, it loses its power. And so it's another reason that mindfulness is so important, is to just begin to notice so that those blinders do not take over your life. So even though in all environmental, sustainable vision, we don't actually burn the effigy of Ravan, you can burn one metaphorically in your own mind and just allow yourself to really check in, kind of, how's my inner Ravan doing? You know, what's it angry at today? What's it envious of today? What's it greedy for? What's it lusting over? Where is it lazy? Where is, sloth? Where are we stuck? And just allow that inner Ram, that inner divinity, or that inner mother goddess to burn it, to vanquish it, to emerge victorious. So it's a very auspicious day for conquering those very human aspects in each of us. And I keep repeating that they're very human because you shouldn't feel badly about them. It's not, oh my God, I'm a bad person because I've got lust and greed and anger and jealousy and sloth and it just means you're human. But as humans, we have the opportunity to align with divinity because the truth of who we are is divine. So we have that choice. Do I align with the mental impressions, the chemical reactions in my brain? Or do I align with the divinity in me? And tonight's a really, really auspicious night to make that decision to align with divinity. So, well, instead of starting with a question that's come in advance, I'm going to actually start with questions here because we're going to have a bit of a shortened satsang this evening so that we can end a bit earlier and everyone will have a chance to grab some dinner quickly and then come back to the banks of Ganga for the last night of the beautiful Ram Leela drama being put on by the youth from around the country. So, breaking our normal tradition, I won't start with one of the questions that's come in advance. We'll start with just opening it to any question that anyone here has. So just feel free to raise your hand. Yeah. कल से स्टैंड लगा दीजिएगा.
Hi Sadhviji.
Namaste.
Is the primary reason for consciousness or awareness establishing the human form is to know itself, or is there anything other that is the reason?
Okay, great. The primary reason for consciousness, is it just to know itself? So the questions can be a little bit of, I'm sure there's some term for it in logic, I just don't remember what it is, where the same words that you use end up just tying you up. Meaning, is it to know itself? Well, it depends. The lowercase self, like is consciousness knowing consciousness? Or are we utilizing consciousness to know our capital S self? So let me explain. Consciousness does not exist in the body. Body dies, consciousness is still there. Not my individual consciousness. In order for me to individually experience consciousness, I need my physical brain. My brain is the medium through which I experience consciousness. But when I am in deep sleep, no dreams, deep sleep, consciousness exists, even though I'm no longer aware of it. If you're in a coma, or you're under general anesthesia, consciousness has not gone away. In the highest form of how we describe it. That's why I say these words can get tricky. Because we also speak about consciousness on a kind of lower level. He got hit by a baseball, he was knocked unconscious. Well, the baseball did not actually remove his consciousness. It just temporarily removed his ability to access it. Just like deep sleep, just like a coma, just like general anesthesia. Consciousness does not require the body, exist in the body. There's no reason for consciousness to exist. Consciousness is all that, it's like saying, why does existence exist? Right? Truth, Sat, or you can say existence, because the highest truth is existence. Consciousness and bliss. This Sat, Chit, Anand. That is this supreme reality, Brahman. All that is. Isness. It just is. There's no reason, it just is. We experience it in our physical, temporary human bodies in a way that is higher than, much more developed than, other physical bodies of other species, in order that we can come to know our true capital S self as divine, as Sat Chit Anand. But just because we have the ability to access that level of consciousness doesn't mean we're going to choose to. We also have free will. Plenty of people end their life just as unconscious as they began it. That's why we keep coming back, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. It's like, you keep doing 5th grade till you learn long division. Right? There's sort of some prerequisites. We're going to keep coming back until we experience the truth. We know the truth. We're free in moksha, liberation from ignorance. So consciousness doesn't have a reason to exist. The benefit, not sure I would say reason, but the benefit for us being able to access consciousness, able to be conscious of our own consciousness, right? I can watch myself. I can be aware that I am aware, conscious that I am conscious, is so that we can know the true self. So try, when you're thinking about it, instead of keeping it just purely philosophical, which is fascinating, but not of much personal use, to ask yourself, okay, so what does this mean for me? How am I interacting with consciousness? Not just why is consciousness there, but why am I conscious? And am I using that to the highest potential, the highest reason? Or am I wasting it? Yeah, beautiful. Other questions? Yes.
Pranam Mataji. My question is regarding karma.
Come in front of the speaker. It's just that you're too close to the speaker. Yeah, there you go.
Suppose my close ones, like maybe wife or mother or sister, if they are demanding luxurious gifts, and if I'm denying, then they may get hurt sometimes. Because I may not be able to afford it, or I may not be able to want it, because I am in the beginning of my career. So in the later on I may forget. So basically they got hurt because I didn't buy them. So will it become a part of my karma, agama karma?
Okay. So karma means action. That's what the word actually means. Karma means action. Every action we do has a repercussion. And whether you go into this through Vedic philosophy or you go into this through Newtonian physics, they're going to tell you the same thing. Every action has a reaction, right? Karma goes a little bit deeper. Our karmic path is not only about the ramifications, the consequences, the results of our actions, but it's also about that which is most conducive for us to take our next step on our spiritual journey. So that which we are receiving in life, it's not good or bad. We may feel good or bad about it, but the universe does not put such labels on things. We want wealth, but the universe doesn't have any opinion over that. It's not, people have this misunderstanding that, if you were really good in a past life, you're going to be rich in this one. And if you're poor in this life, it means you were bad in a past life. Not true. Not true. What we're going to experience is on a level of what we call sukh and dukh. Happiness and sadness, pleasure and pain. Money does not always bring happiness. Living a luxurious life does not always bring happiness. It's not wealth equals sukh. It's not, you want to be happy, buy more things. It's not how it works. Ask anybody who's rich. What we know from a basis now of research is that if you are super, super, super poor, not enough to eat, no roof over your house, no sweater in the winter, it's unlikely that you're going to be very happy. But once you go above the basic levels of poverty, once there is food to eat, a roof over your head, money for clothes, money for medicine, school, that level. More money does not necessarily equal more happiness. More jewelry does not equal more happiness. A bigger car does not equal happiness. So the karma that we're getting is not on the basis of the wealth. It's on the basis of the sukh and dukh. Cause harm to others, cause pain to others, cause dukh to others, you will get that. Cause sukh for others, happiness, bring happiness to others, that's what you're going to get. But so the wealth, the situation that you are in, the situation that they are in, and all of the pieces of it, are those that are most conducive for all of you to take your steps closer to the divine. Some people are going to take their next step best in a situation of luxury. Some are going to take their next step best in a situation of scarcity and simplicity. The only place that we start to attract karma, like the repercussions of karma, is based on how we react to what we have. So if I don't have much, and therefore I go out and steal it, or I peek into other people's windows and I wish that they die so that I could get their jewels, like that's going to give me some karmic repercussions. But simply not having it is not in and of itself going to bring karma. Even having the desire for it, as long as I'm not going out and doing something that is harmful to others. If they shout at you and they say you are a lousy, useless husband, that's going to give them some karmic fruit, because that brings you pain. It's verbal violence. If they make you feel awful, that's going to give them some karmic fruit. But if they simply have a thought in their mind of, I wish I had more diamonds, but they don't do anything about it, and they work spiritually to actually overcome that, then no, they're not going to accrue any karmic fruits from that. And for you, in terms of the money, I would say, rather than catering to the cultural viewpoint that more is better in terms of jewels and luxury items, ask yourself, what is it that actually brings us happiness? What brings sukh? And work toward that, so that you don't end up wasting your life just accruing more and more, because it's never enough. If you don't have happiness on the inside, you could wear diamond bracelets from here to here and it is not enough. You've got to cultivate the happiness on the inside. And that's cultivated through connection to the divine, connection to ourself, connection to each other. It's cultivated through meaningful work, whether you're paid for it or not, meaningful engagement in some way with the universe, that there's some benefit to the universe for the fact that you got out of bed in the morning. Whether you got financially reimbursed for it or not, that doesn't matter. But just that you've done something on this planet today that was meaningful in some way. So connection, meaningful engagement. And that deep inquiry, I mean, it's part of spiritual connection, but it's also separate. That sort of just deep inquiry into who you are, so that you can live every minute and every moment more and more as light. I mean, we're talking about Ram and Ravan. You want to live every minute more and more as Ram. You know, it's that embodiment of Ram. He wasn't any less of a husband in the 14 years that they were in the forest with nothing. Right? It's not like he was a better husband when he was able to give Sita all of the fancy things than when they were in the jungles. Right? So focus on the depth of what really matters. If the luxury items come, they come. If they don't come, don't worry about it. The happiest people I know are not the richest people I know. They're people who have very consciously and deliberately chosen how to spend the days of their life in that which matters. Being of service, being instruments in God's hands, being connected, having compassion and engagement, all of that. Sadhana, consciousness, mindfulness. These are the things, gratitude. These are the things that give you sukh. Don't worry about the jewelry. So I'm going to actually end here, and if it's okay, we'll start with your question tomorrow. I just want to be really respectful of the youth who have come to put on the Ram Leela. We've been late in going every night. Last night, night before, we were very late in going. So we've promised them that we will be on time tonight. Arti ran over, so, you know, it's not going to start at exactly 8. It'll probably start in about 20 minutes or so. But I want to give people a chance to have a little something to eat and then get down. But we'll start with your question tomorrow night. Kal aapki question se shuru karenge. Theek hai? आंसर मिल जाएगा आपको, ठीक है? बस नीचे जाओ, ऐसे प्रार्थना करो कि वो आंसर आ जाएगा. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. A very, very special Dussehra, beautiful Dussehra. I think from tomorrow we'll probably be back starting our satsang back at our normal time between 6:45 and 7 after the Festivities of the last days of Navratri will come to a conclusion today. And so much love to you all.